Hello and welcome to Birth Your Vision podcast series. I'm your host, Hannah Kupoluyi, and today I have with me the fabulous Charlotte Valentine. She is a writer and she will be talking about her inspiration as well as her journey into becoming a creative writer. She has a book launch coming up in April and she'll be sharing those details with us today. So welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us.
And thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the intro, particularly. Thank you for the fabulous description.
You're welcome.
I like that.
Thank you. So I know that you've been in the corporate life, for over 15 years. And how was you able to make that transition from leaving to now studying your MA and then going on to do a short course in creative writing and becoming a writer?
Becoming a writer, like that. Yes, I enjoyed my time in corporate life, and I'm lucky I was successful at it, and it paid very well. But I'm a believer in sometimes you just feel you want to do something different.
That's
and
right.
if you do, you should just go for it.
Yeah.
And I did, and left because I did want to do something completely different, something I probably always wanted to do, which was to do some further education.
Yeah.
Did my MA in literature, which was obviously another exposure to books. And then in fact I moved to Spain, adopted my son, and then some years later decided, as perhaps a lot of women do, that I wanted to make yet another change. I'd, I suppose, done what a lot of females do, which is nurture others, look after a family,
That's right.
all of which was great. But I felt I wanted to make another switch and another, I suppose, reinvention, and decided I wanted to write. And although I'd always been considered good at writing in the sense of writing business reports or academic writing, creative writing is a whole new thing.
Yes,
there's no catalyst externally to you, it's just what's in your head that works its way onto the screen.
Yes.
So I did the creative writing course to A, learn the tools of trade, and B, see if I might be any good at it, and loved that. And here I am a few years later with a book.
Wow, creative writer.
Because
Fantastic.
at one point I typed the end.
Yeah.
So, and that's a nice feeling, I tell you.
Brilliant. So tell us about this book. What is this book about and what's the title?
Okay, the title is The Cerberus Affair.
Show it to
And
the
this
audience so they
is,
can have a look.
I'm not sure that's going to read right to left or left to right because it's on a video. But
That's fine. We'll share
it's the Cerberus Affair. You can
we'll share the pictures a little bit later.
And I won't say what Cerberus refers to. I'm finding some people know what Cerberus means and some people don't. So read the book, whatever, you'll find out. It's my debut novel. It's a thriller.
Yeah.
It's not thriller as a psychological thriller or police procedural. There's no dead body with a chalk mark around it. It's more thriller as in action adventure.
Right.
And
Okay.
I will just say we have in the first 3 pages we have a probable shooting and we have a suspicious death on page 3. So hopefully it delivers action and adventure.
Yeah.
It's again very briefly. It's set in the world of genetics research. The heroine is an interesting protagonist, I think. She's an ex-investigative journalist who goes back to journalism to investigate what she and the dead man's wife, he's a junior health minister in the government, by the way, and his wife does not believe he died of natural causes, but the system says that he did.
He did.
But she's suspicious, and so then is Catherine, our heroine.
Right.
The book is about
Yes.
her taking the investigation from there.
Because I read a chapter and I remember getting to the very, very sort of mysterious part, sort of investigation about who did what.
Yeah. And the world of genetics comes into it because there is a thread running through this of a potentially game-changing genetics breakthrough, which may or may not also be threatened.
Okay.
I won't say any more. And the other thing that runs through, and there's elements of potentially corporate conspiracy going on.
Yeah.
And there's a very intense love affair running through it,
Wow.
which
Exciting.
It has its moments.
It's okay.
It has its moments. But it's important because it
Yeah.
informs that she finds a very passionate relationship, and it's the first time she's felt this way about somebody, and it informs a lot of what she does. So
Right.
Does that give you some kind
Yeah,
of...
it does, definitely.
thumbnail
And I
of
really
it?
can't wait to sort of get to the middle of it because I've actually started reading it, which is really amazing. So, what really inspired you to write this particular book?
Well, having decided that I wanted to write, and a
Yeah.
lot of writers say, well, I've always wanted to.
Right.
Whether that's actually true of us or not, or whether we just kind of say that once we're doing it, I don't know. But I think to some extent, you have to have quite a strong belief in you that you
Yes.
really want to do this, because it's a tough gig. Writing the first book takes several years.
I could imagine.
I'm told the second one is quicker, which I'm looking forward to. I want to write the second one a lot more quickly. But in the first one, you learn the tools of the trade and learning new craft, etc. But having decided I wanted to do it, I started off again, as I think a lot of writers do, putting a lot of myself into it. And the lead character was quite largely based on me. She now still is to an extent, but I kind of let go of her a little bit and
Yes.
realised that you can't make a work of fiction too much about you.
Yeah.
You start off doing that, but you soon figure out, no, this is a fictional account, and the character who you have built needs to take over the story.
Right.
This is about what Catherine, who's the name of the character,
Yeah.
what would she do in this situation? What would Charlotte do? Because I'm not Catherine.
Exactly.
She's Catherine.
She's Catherine.
So although some aspects of my life were an inspiration for it, it's truly a work of fiction. And somehow, as I was starting to write it, the whole question of genetics research, there was something on the news about it. I think it's about the time that there was a baby who was suffering from a very serious genetics defect, and that was kind of a prompt to think, yeah, I wonder when the day will come when we'll find a
Right.
breakthrough for these
Yeah.
things, and that was kind of the inspiration there.
Okay, that's really, really good. It sounds really amazing. I know you have an upcoming book launch coming up, which you've been working really hard behind the scenes.
Yes, 24/7.
So tell us about that and when is it?
Okay, I'm independently publishing it,
Okay.
which is a growing and more successful way of authors getting their work out there,
Yeah.
rather than going the traditional route, which tends to be quite slow
Yeah.
and not terribly lucrative, I have to say. So I'm going the independent route, but you have to do it professionally. So you've got to have a designer, you've got to have a social media consultant,
Absolutely.
you
So
have
a
to
lot
have your
goes into
editor.
it,
So
yeah.
a lot going into that.
Quite a lot of work.
So it's kind of interesting, but very empowering. I should
Yeah.
take your own project and
Exactly.
say you're going to get it out there, and ultimately you're the decision maker. And it goes out end of April. And yeah, what was the other bit of the question?
Oh, yeah.
I'm so busy talking, I don't know the question.
You've actually answered it, which is absolutely fine. So it's at the end of April.
Yes.
And you're self-publishing it yourself.
Yes,
And
yes.
Do you have a date yet?
The last week of
The last week.
April.
Okay.
Funnily enough, quick aside, when I decided in November that April was the date,
Yes.
it seemed like ages away.
Right.
Now that we're in March, suddenly the clock's ticking a bit faster. So when I say end of April, there's a chance that could mean April the 30th. Because unfortunately,
okay.
it's not one of those months with 31 days in it, which is
Yeah.
a pity. So it'll be towards the end of April, and it'll be going on to all the standard platforms where you could buy books, primarily Amazon.
Good.
But Barnes and Noble in the US, Kobe, Goodreads, there are lots of platforms, and it will be available in ebook
Yes.
for people who use Kindles, but also print on demand. And the other thing I'm planning on doing is getting it into Audible,
Okay.
because Audible is now a very, very popular
It is, indeed.
way that people are listening to books. So
Absolutely.
I'm liking that.
I agree with that. So, looking at upcoming aspiring female authors and writers, any specific advice for them as they embark on this journey on becoming a writer?
Very short and sweet, really. Unusually for me, I know. Just do it.
Yes.
And I know that sounds a bit slick, but actually, if you want to write and something is in here,
Yeah.
and you don't know whether you'll be any good at it or not, because you don't until you start, you really don't know. Just start putting words on a piece of paper or typing words into your MacBook, and really anything goes. Your idea is as valid as anybody else's.
Absolutely.
Your writing is as valid as somebody else's. You'll make mistakes, and at some point people will read it and suggest changes, or an editor will look at it.
Yeah.
But initially, just get some content down and believe in yourself. If you have a story, because it's all about story.
That's right.
Story is the beginning, the middle, and the end. So just write the story.
Fantastic. I love that. So lastly, how can people get in touch with you?
Okay.
Yeah.
My website, unfortunately, is not yet up and running.
Okay,
It's
you're
in the
working
course
on
of
that.
construction.
You'll
I'm
do that.
working on that.
Good.
But through my social media, so on Instagram, I'm at Charlotte Valentine Writer. Facebook, Charlotte Valentine Writer. If you look at either of those, that will get you to my landing page where you can join my readers community.
Good.
And that gets you some freebies. The first 2 freebies are 2 short stories, Cinderella and The Third Door, which are kind of fun and edgy, I think, and people are liking them.
Brilliant.
And it will also get you, in a couple of weeks' time, the opening chapters of The Cerberus Affair,
Fantastic.
which hopefully people will like. And
I'm sure they will.
Want to
Absolutely
read the
love it. And just before we just round it up, what advice would you give to women who are actually making a new direction in their life? Perhaps a woman who's actually worked for years and now she wants to sort of pursue aspirations and dreams, and she wants to do something completely different.
Okay.
Just like what you've done.
Yeah. First of all, I would say just do it again. I would say be brave.
Okay.
I would say don't feel any guilt whatsoever about saying, I've done a lot of things, because we are the nurturing gender. I
We
think,
are indeed.
with apologies to the men, but we are, and we love doing that.
Yeah.
But tell yourself, I've done a good job at those things, but now I want to do something for me. And tell yourself that if you don't, that's a missed resource for society, because I think there's a lot of untapped potential in women at a certain point in their life, and they should just go for it. So be brave. Don't let hurdles of any of the isms, ageism, sexism, racism stand in your way. They're just hurdles to be gone through. And go for it.
Fantastic.
If you want it, make it happen. And you can. Be brave.
Yes, indeed. And you heard it here first on the Birth Your Vision podcast series. And I'm so amazed and just overwhelmed, overblown to have this amazing lady next to me, Charlotte Valentine. So, make sure that you get in touch with her and connect with her on all social media platforms. So until next time, we'll see you on the next episode of Birth Your Vision podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Kupoluyi. Stay blessed. Thank you.